Heart and soul. I fell in love with this show, heart and soul. Yeah, these openings are getting a little harder to do. We begin with the Green Lanterns in what appears to be a heck of a lot of trouble, as they're unable to fend off a group of aliens. The Green Lanterns' leader, Katmatui, tells Kilowog to run and warn the Guardians as she covers his escape. However, Kilowog doesn't make it to the Guardians and instead somehow ends up crashing onto Earth, where John finds him. Kilowog informs John of the situation as best he can, with John setting off alone to go help. Which seems ironic, since during the last episode on this list he told Flash off for running off by himself. Once Kilowog is healed to a degree, he informs the rest of the League about the situation, how there's a cult being formed by a three-eyed alien called Despero. He also explains, to Hawkgirl's chagrin, that Katmatui was not only John's teacher on Oa, but was also in a relationship with him for some time. Kilowog wants to follow John, but finds his ring is depleted, so he needs to recharge. Meanwhile, John has arrived on Kolinar, the planet Despero now rules. Using the name of Despero, he finds Katmatui's home and her ring, which has been left behind. Kilowog is able to find John's lantern battery after dealing with the most dangerous being in the universe. A crotchety old Asian landlady.
Good lord, what is it?
What are you doing in my building? And why are you wearing Mr. Stewart's clothes?
Ma'am, we can explain.
Yo!
Ouch! Lady, please!
Back on Kolinar, John is captured and taken to Despero, who goes on a long monologue about how he was an outcast and this flame saved him and he will lead them all to paradise. Which is all bull, but still cool story, bro. John tries to fight Despero, but he's too powerful for one lantern to fight alone. So lucky for John that Katmatui shows up, brainwashed and wearing a skimpy slave outfit, so that's not good. Also, really guys, even Princess Leia would call that revealing. Under Despero's orders, Katma sacrifices John to the flame, only for him to be saved by the Resistance.
I should have guessed that one. There's always a resistance, isn't there?
Wherever there's oppression, there will be, I believe the saying goes.
Who reveal that Katma is actually one of them and is actually undercover, as well as somehow being able to put her ring into a non-existent pocket. Because seriously, where did she just put that? Actually, let's not think about that. Katma tells John that Despero is gathering a huge force, but doesn't know why. They also kiss. This, however, will not really go anywhere past this episode. At Despero's palace, he empowers his soldiers with the intention for them to spread his control from planet to planet, to gain more people for his army.
Blazing my word and will across the cosmos!
John wants to bring in more of the Green Lanterns to help, but the Resistance gets attacked by Despero's forces, having been sold out by one of their own. John finds he can't use his ring and the Resistance is cornered, but the timely arrival of the Justice League manages to save them. Everyone regroups at another Resistance base, with John being able to understand some of the ancient writings that concern the Flame, and that Kolinar was not always a barren planet. Whilst John and Katma try to figure out what's wrong with his ring. And I am doing everything I can to avoid a performance anxiety joke. I swear to God. With Katma being a stern teacher, Hawkgirl steps in and questions her methods and whether John needs to be treated like a recruit to get things to work. John works out that similar to the lantern battery, the flame is a power cell, able to empower Despero and his troops. If they take it out, he'll be powerless. With John showing no signs of improvement over his ring, Hawkgirl questions Katma's ideas again and encourages John. Despero's forces attack again, with Katma, John and Hawkgirl being captured. Katma is brainwashed, for reals this time, and Despero tries to do the same to Hawkgirl. Though given what happens to Jean during a mental probing of a Thanagarian later on, I don't think this is a good idea. John does a Skywalker and calls his ring to him, freeing himself and attacking Despero, whilst the others go out to put out the flame with a bomb built by Kilowog, but Jean ends up tapping into it and learns that it's alive. Jean allows the flame to speak through him, and it tells the people that Despero is a liar and that their path to paradise is not built through war and violence. The flame changes into a huge tree that swallows up Despero and ends up recreating one of the last scenes from the Studio Ghibli movie Pompoko, as the planet is flush with life. The members of the Justice League leave the planet as Hawkgirl talks to John.
That Katma's quite a woman.
Yeah, a good teacher too. But some things can't be taught. Some things you only get through experience.
Like?
Clarity.
Ending the episode. This episode works the idea of following a leader instead of following your own thoughts and ideas, treating people as equals and encouraging those who may fall behind. It's a solid episode with a good twist at the end, with the flame of Pytar actually being alive, and if they hadn't had John, they would have destroyed their planet's chance to grow anew. Of course, no explanation into how the nature of their planet was sealed away, or why, so that does seem a little strange. Or how Despero was specifically able to control the flames so that he gave his people the powers he wanted, but that could just be his manipulation of the thing in general. One of the issues with the episode is John's relationship with Kat Matui. For a character we've never heard of or seen before this episode, it seems weird to drop John right in the middle of a relationship that will have no bearing whatsoever. Hell, the relationship is dropped after the first episode where they kiss and then never really seems to reappear, as Katma is acting as his teacher for the rest of the episode. Really, you could have just had John lose confidence in his powers and then keep trying and failing to regain them himself, with Hawkgirl helping him out. The only reason for Katma after the first episode is to be the harsh negative motivation against Hawkgirl's positive encouragement. Something that they didn't actually need Katma there to do, as the same could have been achieved with John just remembering his training. But really, there's very little to pick at here, and as we approach the top 10, there's going to be even less. So for this episode, the writers' hearts and minds were surely in this, which is what got this episode a spot at number 12. Hey people, and thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the next one of these a full day before anybody else, you can do that by supporting me on my Patreon page. However, if you're watching this on my Patreon page, then thanks for your support.